tears. Trigger home to happy years.
Welcome back to Hannity. Now, before the break, you heard from the Ferguson City Police Chief, Thomas Jackson, who provided some new insight into the tragic events that unfolded in Missouri over the weekend. Here to react to that interview, as well as the appalling rioting and looting that followed the shooting, is Fox News contributor DeRoy Murdoch, Democratic strategist Brian Benjamin, and Fox News contributor Deneen Borelli. To me, the one big thing that came out of this interview with the police chief is a struggle ensued in the police car, and a shot was fired in the car. That would contradict some of the, quote, eyewitness testimony that we had heard, right?
No, you're right, and there are so many circumstances that are surrounding this tragedy, and my heart goes out to the family.
I agree with you. It's horrible.
The death of this young kid. But the investigation, we hope, will sort everything out, and we'll get to the bottom of this, Sean. What I'm really concerned about is how individuals have taken to the streets, looting and stealing and causing.
I want to get to that in a minute, because I think you raised a good point. But, Brian, I guess here, the question is going to be, was it justifiable use of force? In other words, did the police officer feel that he had a real threat? Now, if Mr. Brown is in the car and a shot is fired in the car, that would tell me that a struggle for the weapon ensued. That would then change a lot of the narrative that's been going on, wouldn't it?
That would change maybe a little bit of the narrative, but which he also said was potentially 10 or more shots got fired. So if the kid
That's the biggest question I have.
So if the kid is unarmed and the kid is running away from the car, let's assume part of that is true. If he's running away from the car, why is the cop shooting at this young man?
So in other words, what you're saying here is that if in fact what the officer is claiming, and they're now saying that there was a struggle for the weapon,
which you don't know to be the case, but let's
that's their side. Okay, we are both sides. I played the side of the eyewitness earlier.
That's right.
If there was a struggle for the gun in the car and a shot was fired in the car, that would sound to me on paper to be justified use of force.
Potentially.
Now, the question then to Roy is, what happened after that? When was the fatal shot fired? Because obviously, I think it was quite a distance from the car, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of questions about this, and the original story of police brutality. Now, there are other angles on this, and I think we may take the investigation of the St. Louis County Police. Apparently, the local police chief has stepped away and recused himself. I think that's probably smart, and we can say that he's manipulating the case. And a lot of questions have to be answered, and yet there's been this tremendous public and violent reaction to this based on a certain set of I don't know, facts or assumptions that may not be the case.
With that video here, people are robbing, looting. How is that a protest against, if you believe there's an injustice here, how does robbing mag wheels we showed earlier,
I totally agree with you. Look, there's a line from the movie Crash where one of the characters, who is a successful black film director, says to his brother,
I mean, look at this.
A Crip or a Blood, a gang member, he says, you embarrass me, you embarrass yourself. These looters embarrass me and embarrass themselves. I mean, I think there's a very legitimate question.
Embarrass you?
I think it is awful to turn on the television and see these black citizens engaged in not just protesting.
We judge people as individuals.
I know that, but I think that they would be perfectly justified to say, look, this is a case of police brutality. This needs to be investigated. This is an awful thing. This is very tragic. This young man is up on the college. This has nothing to do with going and stealing tires, stealing wheels, helping yourself to other people's shoes. I think when that sort of thing happens, it completely takes away the credibility, or certainly reduces the credibility of people who have very serious questions about this awful trip. So the family has been very clear that they don't condone any of this action.
Well, the father had on a "No Justice, No Peace" shirt,
and by the way, this no justice, no peace. I mean,
what does no peace mean?
Well, no peace means no. You're not just going to be able to hang out. Peace.
That doesn't sound like what no justice, no peace.
That's not why I interpret it. Well, that's how you interpret it.
Yeah, that's the father with "No Justice, No Peace" right there. My heart goes out there.
That's a phrase that's used. No justice, no peace. It does not mean violence in any way, shape, or form. The FBI also is looking at this, and I think that what their opinion is on this is going to matter because there's so much distrust.
All right, okay, let me throw this at Deneen. Deneen, how many kids are killed in Chicago? Al Sharpton's not there. Al Sharpton's not there.
That's not true.
Excuse me.
Wait, yeah.
Hang on a second. You don't see the level of indignation and outrage.
No, you're right.
Why are some cases, when they appear to be racial, in comes the new Black Panther Party?
We don't even know the racial aspect of this. We don't know who the police officer is, but your point is very valid and well taken. I think what is not being discussed, Sean, is the fact that progressive policies have failed urban communities because you have these individuals who are exploiting this tragedy, exploiting this situation, high unemployment, deplorable school systems, We have policies that are not helping these communities. President Obama is making it worse. He's got a war on fossil fuels. You're driving up energy prices. That doesn't help individuals.
Do you all agree with me on this point? That we don't really know now what happened.
Right.
I don't know. I'm listening to the police chief. I'm listening to eyewitnesses. We played the eyewitness. We interviewed the police chief. You agree? We don't know, right? We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
But a lot of the police are not above the law.
I agree with you. If they kill this kid for no good reason, then they're going to go to jail for the rest of their life.
They should release this police officer's name, and they should have a timeline for that.
And come out.
So the bottom line is everyone's none of us really know.
The case is not closed.
Case is not closed. So I think that people should not rush to judge the
Statement. And this happens all the time.
On both sides.
Right.
Sad case either way. All right, coming up, more Hannity right after this break.
In this town,